morning and welcome everybody to the 28th Hydrogen and Fuel Cells Europe exhibition here at the Hannovermesse 2022. We still have quite some seats left here. This is the public forum, so I would like to invite you all, the public, to take a seat here. And I have two important reasons for you to do so. First of all, because the drinks are complimentary, and who doesn't like a coffee in the morning? So that's the first good reason. And the second one is that I will be talking about a very interesting and most of all important topic. I will be discussing sustainable energy carriers as an important element for energy security. I would say more important now than ever. I will be discussing this topic with Fraunhofer ESA and then specifically the head of Thermochemical processes. Can I get an applause for Robert Szolak? Robert, it's good to have you here.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thank you.
So first of all, let's get some introduction into Fraunhofer. I think everybody has heard the name Fraunhofer, and when you walk around here, I don't think there's a single spot on the fair where you can look around and not see a Fraunhofer stand, at least somewhere, because you have quite a few. I've been looking this up on the Hannovermesse website, and in fact, on this fair, on the entire Hannovermesse, there are 36 booths by Fraunhofer. And you come from the Fraunhofer ESA booth, which is located at C39, by the way, just over there. So can you tell me, what is Fraunhofer and what is Fraunhofer ESA?
Okay. Yeah, Fraunhofer Gesellschaft is one of the biggest research and development organization in Europe. We have right now around 80 institutes in Germany with approximately 30,000 employees. And I'm working at Fraunhofer ISE in the division Hydrogen Technology, and we have there more than 25 years experience in hydrogen production via electrolysis, reforming processes, as well as fuel cells and applications.
So a lot of experience, and with a team that big, also a lot of personal experience, I guess. You mentioned you are a research and development organization.
Right.
Does that mean you are not here to sell anything? I mean, that's what most of the people are doing here.
Yes, yeah, we are a non-profit organization. Our goal is to help industry with new technologies, with material development, catalyst development. We are doing simulations to go deeper into cost calculations and so on.
Yeah, so really here to support the industry, I think.
Right.
And that allows for some interesting talk here today, because we won't be selling anything, and I think that's a first for this week. So also for the audience, if you do have any questions about hydrogen, in this entire energy system, feel free to raise your hand during the entire talk, and I will find you with my microphone. Okay, not selling anything. We will be talking about the sustainable energy carriers as an important element for energy security, and I think it's good to first define that energy security then. What does that entail?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have in the energy system, different dimensions. I mean, the first is the fight against the climate change. We have to get rid of the fossil energy carrier to go to renewable energy. This is the first one. And the second is what we see right now is the war against Ukraine, that we need an independency from fossil fuel, and this allows a big opportunity for hydrogen.
Yeah, and I think it's something that's being talked about more and more and gets more attention. Indeed, with the recent geopolitical developments, as you mentioned. We are here at the Hydrogen and Fuel Cells Expo. So I guess hydrogen is one of the key components in this. So what is the role of hydrogen in this broader energy system, as you describe?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, hydrogen is a key molecule. I mean, this allows us a transformation of an electron to a molecule. It can be stored, it can be transported from one point to the other. And you can put this molecule into different sectors. You can use hydrogen in the industry, for instance, in the steel production, or in other industry processes. To get rid of the natural gas, you can use hydrogen as a fuel in fuel cells or hydrogen engines. And you can also, starting from hydrogen and carbon dioxide, for instance, to other chemicals and fuels. You can produce methanol, and from methanol, other fuels like EME, OME, which are diesel substitutes. You can also go further to sustainable aviation fuels. You can produce from hydrogen to and hydrogen ammonia, which is also an important chemical and energy carrier. So you have a big map and a lot of opportunities to go further with this hydrogen molecule.
Yeah, indeed. And I think there should also be a slide on the screen. We cannot see this. Sometimes there's a slide on the screen with this entire energy system and the role of hydrogen in there. So that might be good to refer to. You mentioned, we will be getting into these different molecules then, these different carriers. But first of all, you mentioned hydrogen is a way to turn electrons into molecules.
Right.
Why is it so important to turn these electrons into molecules? What's wrong with the electrons?
Yeah, I think, especially in Germany, we need energy imports, and this is for sure. And the question is right now how to transport the energy from, I don't know, for instance, from the MENA region or from other countries to Germany. And in this case, hydrogen is this molecule to allow the transport, the storage of hydrogen, and to bring this into different markets.
So a key component, I would say. And you already mentioned some other molecules as well, so it's not just hydrogen.
Right.
What other molecules would play a large role, and how are these molecules connected to hydrogen?
I guess, if you're talking about the energy transport, you can transport hydrogen in liquid form, or you can make derivatives from hydrogen. That means you can produce with hydrogen and nitrogen ammonia, which can be stored much easier than hydrogen. It is in liquid form at, 8-10 bars, so you can use already existing infrastructure. You can also produce methanol from hydrogen and carbon dioxide to transport this in that way. So for a large amount of energy transport, so you can use those molecules, and then you can go further. You can produce, liquid fuels from that way. Which is pretty much important for the feedstock. You will need also liquid fuels in the transport sector for the larger trucks and ships and planes.
Yeah, indeed. And I do recommend everybody to visit that booth at C39 because they have a wonderful example there of the size of these different molecules if you would want to bring a certain amount of energy. Is that how I say it correctly?
Right.
Yeah, indeed. So there's these different molecules have a different energy density, and I guess that's also why they are so suitable for different applications.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. This might be a good moment to ask the audience if there are any questions. So please do raise your hand. This is a more general talk about the hydrogen in the energy system. So any and all questions are welcome. No questions as of yet, but if you do have a question, feel free to raise your hand and I will find you with my microphone. I do have a question. We're talking about future energy systems here, and that is it's quite abstract, I can imagine, and it's pretty difficult to research something that isn't there yet. So what methods do you at Fraunhofer use to study these systems when they aren't even around yet?
Yeah, what we are doing at Fraunhofer is we are making simulations, process simulations to optimize processes, but also we are making techno-economical assessments and simulations. So in the case, what does it cost to produce renewable energy in some places? We are considering, the potential of PV and wind and other renewable sources. we are also simulating then the cost. What does it cost to produce hydrogen, to synthesize it to different molecules, to transport it to different places. And this helps, I guess, companies also to improve their business models, to see, okay, in which technology maybe would be good to invest.
Yeah, so you can use these simulations to answer different kind of questions, I think. And you already mentioned that second question about the transport of hydrogen. And oh, there's a question. Nice. Shall I? No, we're going to go for your question first, of course.
Well, as you said that you are making some simulation, and so the question is, how do you see the present situation having this economic changes like high inflation in Europe? Secondly, steel prices and fuel prices, electricity prices. Whether it is boosting the hydrogen economy, or it may stop the hydrogen economy, or at least slow down the development. What do you think? How it is going to influence that?
If I understand it correctly, I mean, so we already see a boost of the hydrogen technologies. I mean, as I mentioned before, I mean, the first is the independency from fossil fuels. And right now, I mean, there are really some international projects starting. And they say, for instance, for ammonia, you can produce green ammonia with the same price than the fossil ammonia. And what we also see is that we see a decrease of the energy price if you have some sweet spots, for instance, in the MENA region. I mean, if you're installing PV, I mean, you cannot produce energy in a cheaper form. So I think, yeah, I see definitely a boost for hydrogen in the future.
Yeah, and I think that's the trend we're also seeing here at the expo. A lot more faith and movement in the hydrogen sector, I would say. Okay. To get back to that story you were telling about the simulations you do at Fraunhofer, there was this question you mentioned about the transport costs. And walking around here, I see quite some different ideas about the best way to transport hydrogen. I hear people talking about compressed hydrogen, metal hydride sometimes, ammonia. Is this something you are also looking into?
Right. These are the candidates to transport hydrogen. We are considering hydrogen in liquid form. We are considering, as you mentioned, ammonia. And to see the price today and to see the price considering the whole chain, including transport, we see a benefit for ammonia. Transport it here to Europe and then to reform it back to hydrogen, to bring then hydrogen to the different sectors. So ammonia is definitely a promising molecule.
Yeah, I can imagine. And that's then more for the longer transport,
Right.
I would say. Okay. Yeah, and as I said, do visit that booth because the visualization they have there of the size of these different molecules, it's quite interesting and clarifying. So you are here at the Hannovermesse not selling anything. You are here seeking partnerships, I suppose, and maybe supporting the industry wherever you can. Can you give me an example of one of these collaborations you do in the industry? I know you are working on some interesting, you're doing some interesting work in the OME business. So tell us.
Yeah, I mean, it could be in different forms. I mean, we are involved in public funding projects with other institutes, with other universities, with industry partners, but also industry partners is coming to us and asking for different kinds of topics, and then we are working closely with them together.
All right, and this OME, because this is one of these other molecules,
okay.
right?
Yeah, I mean, what we have developed at Fraunhofer ISE is a new process together with the industry to produce OME, which is an oxymethylene ether, which is a substitute for diesel, for fossil diesel. So together with the industry, we want to start the industry plant at 2025, which is then the first OME plant in Germany. And this is quite an success for us.
And then to make that clear for the audience, how this relates back to hydrogen is the hydrogen is transformed into. Sorry, I forgot about it. What is the step from hydrogen to OME? How does that
So
work?
first of all, the step is together with carbon dioxide to methanol, and then further to OME, oxymethylene ether.
Okay, so another way to store that energy.
There's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I can imagine. Fraunhofer is quite an old company already, and I think you have been at this fair, Fraunhofer at least multiple times already, which means you might have quite a good overview of the sector. So, looking around here and with your own knowledge as well, what would you say are the most exciting developments in the sector today?
What I see here is, a lot of companies who are going more and more to complete systems to provide then engineering or something else to really to increase, to scale up the system. And I guess this is what we need. I think we have all the technologies we need, and we have to scale up. We really go to bigger plants to push hydrogen forward.
And I guess these complete systems are a good way to do that, right? Standardization, being able to scale up production and bring down prices, and that is indeed what we need. And as you said, we see a lot of system integrators here today, and a lot of companies offering these complete solutions. As we are talking about the most exciting developments, it might also be good to discuss the biggest bottlenecks then now. So what is the biggest challenge for the sector today?
I think the regulatory framework is, I guess, one bottleneck. And yeah, of course, the prices. I mean, we have to go into the scale-ups. We have to drop down the costs of the whole processes. And that's why we are here and working on that.
Yeah, indeed. You are working on, improving these processes, and with that also helping the industry to overcome this challenge. Are there any other questions from the audience? We already had one. Please do raise your hand if you have a question. No questions. Oh, another one. Such an active member of the audience. I love it.
Well, always when the transport of hydrogen is discussed, people speak about piping or let's say, or trucks. In general, this is the only. What about the trains? On the medium distance, why trains are not taken into account when it is heavier? So you can put higher load on the train, and you can cheaper transport that on, let's say, 1,000 kilometers than on the road transport.
I'm not sure if I get it right. Are you talking about the transport of hydrogen or the usage of hydrogen?
This was indeed the transport of hydrogen, and then we're talking about the portion of that on land.
I mean, so I see, so we will have more and more hydrogen pipelines. This is also what the European Union wants to increase, to bring hydrogen to Europe and then to distribute it to pipelines. This is the one case, and of course, if you then, to get into other transportation. I'm not sure what is the best case, by via trucks or via trains. Is what we can consider and calculate.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the topics here this week as well, right? We need to consider all options, and we need to not put all our money in one bet. And with that, I'm afraid our time is up. I would like to thank you, Robert. It was a very interesting talk. I learned a lot myself. I hope the audience learned a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So can I please get a warm applause for Robert Szolak.
Thank you.